and I'll have a vanilla, one of the vanilla bullshit things, you know, whatever you want, some vanilla bullshit, latte, kappa thing, you know, whatever you got.
Fuck you, Larry! Bullshit, motherfucker! You are such a bald asshole!
I'm not sure.
What is that? Oh, that's mine! Hey!
This is the one you're
That's
talking
it,
about?
yeah!
Mondo.
Mondo Freaks.
Mondo Freaks.
How's it going, everybody? I am Rob Fishbeck, and I've got with me my co-host for this show, Justin the Juice. What's going on, bud?
Oh, yeah. Not too much. Living the dream.
We are here to talk about Season 12, Episode 5 of Curb Your Enthusiasm. We are pretty much at the midpoint of the season, and so we're going to be doing these weekly review shows, and then, we're going to do some mashup stuff with some friends of ours.
Oh, yeah.
TBD on those dates. About our favorite moments, best of, favorite clips, favorite tropes, the whole shebang, if you will, on Curb Your Enthusiasm as we wind down. That being said, I started the show with this, and I'm going to say right now, rest in peace to Richard Lewis, who very sadly passed away last week at the age of 76. Comedic genius, icon, all of the right words to be said about the man. And he seemed to be someone who was kind of friends with everybody. I have a pretty eclectic between music and film and TV feed on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff. And like everybody was just talking about how great he was and how genuine he was. Wow. Some people were like, I just talked to him last week. Like, you know, but things like this happen. I will say it was a little, I want to get your opinion before we get into the show, because he was in this episode. Jeff was not.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Jeff was probably sick or something when they were filming this episode, because he was not. But Richard was in this episode quite a bit, and it was a little eerie. I mean, obviously these things happen all the time.
Yeah.
But... All right. So what do you think about this episode?
I liked it a lot. Yeah. I did. A lot of great, just great kind of classic moments. Recall some severe laughter.
Yeah, we're really starting to hit the stride this season, I think.
Yeah.
The last, I like the Atlanta stuff, and I understand it's important for setup that'll pay off later in the season.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this episode because this, one of the great things about Curb is that, I mean, really all the seasons, I think of like the producer season, like there was always a through line.
Right.
So yes, it's one of those shows you can just watch a random episode and get into it. It's not like Game of Thrones or Succession or something. But at the same time, he always was really good at giving all the seasons an arc.
Yeah.
But what I liked about this episode is you could just turn it on. If you've never seen the show, this could be your way in to Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I like those episodes. And this is a good one of those.
Yeah. Cause of course there's the lawyer stuff or whatever, but like you don't really, everything they talk about is arbitrary to the actual plot.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought it up. So you got the lawyer thing. So the name of the episode is called Fish Stuck, which when I read that title, I was like, here we go. You never know with these titles what it's going to be about. We obviously know now. But that being said, so you got Sean Hayes, which I'm glad to see him. He's playing his new lawyer, and his last name is Mantle. So Larry David being the old curmudgeon that he is. Because I just don't think a lot of the youngsters are like, oh, Mickey Mantle,
Yeah, right. Oh, Mantle.
Where's the Mickey Mantle love? It's like it's not.
It's awesome.
It's not there anymore. So he meets his new lawyer, played by Sean Hayes, and pretty quickly they get into this argumentative situation about the fact that him and Sean Hayes and his husband, or the character Sean Hayes is playing, and his husband are getting they're going to have a child via surrogate, and the last name of the child is going to be Zinkelman. I think I wrote that down right. Zeck Zinkelman. And Larry's like, well, why not Mansell? Mansell's a better name. It's got a better ring to it. So this kind of leads me to my first point that I want to pick your brain about. When it comes to, the famous Shakespeare quote, what's in a name? My name's Robert Fishbeck, right? Most of my life was just like, this is the dumbest last name I've ever heard of in my entire life. I won't say my mom's maiden name on air just because I don't want any stalkers, but like my mom's maiden name is pretty simple. And I was like, I kind of like that. But then I hit like 21, 22, and it was just like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And half the people I know that I'm good friends with, that I grew up with, they're all white and they've got very European, ethnic, Polish, Dutch type last names with, so it's like Fishbeck's actually really not that strange or obscure, because some of these last names are just barely, like, my friends will say their last name. I know how to spell it because I've known them for so long, but like, they get butchered all the time, all that sort of stuff. I will say people call me Fishback sometimes, or they spell it Back, which that's fine. But people used to tell Bruce Springsteen that they wanted him to change his name long before he got signed to Columbia Records, because they were like, this is a weird, is he Jewish? Is he Italian? Like, we don't know. It ended up working out for him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all this name stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. The last name, I got the Oliver, so I got the 2 first names. So that's kind of always, but I never really knew any Olivers. Like Olivers with a first name. Obviously, there's Oliver Twist.
Right.
Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone, yeah. But like, so growing up, I didn't really think about it too much. A few people call me Oliver. It's never really been too big of a thing. I'll say my mom's maiden name. I don't mind people stalking me. Of McFarlane. So I do have a very Irish on my mom's side. So that's fine. That's like McFarlane. There's like comic book writer McFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
very Irish. Irish.
So
I guess I'll just say, so my mom's maiden name, her last name was Peak with an E at the end. And I always liked that. I was like, that's a good Robert Peak. That's a good name. But but at the same time, so like, all right, so let me ask you this. You said some people call you Oliver. Some people would call me Fishback. They would just call me by my last name, but some people would just call me Fish. So I got that too. I like that. I'll answer to all of it. Like I don't discriminate. You call me whatever you want, as long as you don't call me asshole,
Yeah.
So do you have a lot of nicknames or rather not nicknames, but like, do some people call you by your last name, or you have any abbreviations?
Not very much. Ever since kind of the juice took over, that's kind of been the thing. There's like one just like one middle school teacher called me Oliver, and then one kind of like regular we have at the bar calls me Oliver. Okay. And I was like that was okay. And then I think like a younger, did I tell the story on this show?
I know we talked about nicknames on this.
Yeah. But anyways, that's it. Yeah.
Anyways, what's in the name?
But yeah.
So there's that whole thing. This episode, there was a lot of really good content. But in terms of like bits and whatnot, I only got a handful of things that I wrote down, but they're all kind of really good ones.
Yeah.
So the one I liked, so he goes to the AA meeting, which this is Richard Lewis's performance stand up for the AA folks.
Yeah.
And Larry's just desperate to break up with Irma at this point. Like he does not want it. He's counting down the days, if you will. Mm-hmm. And he's talking to her sponsor, and he's telling him how his daughter wrote a screenplay and if he would pass it along to somebody to read, and he starts thinking about Freddie Funkhauser, played by the great Vince Vaughn. Go Cubs. You know, the great Vince Vaughn. And he's dating a Disney executive at this point. That's what we assume. She's a Disney executive. She works at the Disney lot somewhere under Bob Iger and Kevin Feige. We're all assuming. Or maybe Kathleen Kennedy. She's working for Lucasfilm. Either way, he's going to pass the script. And he gets so excited and he like goes in to hug Larry and Larry, no touching.
Oh, yeah.
No touching. And it's so funny that the bit did what it did, because I will say this. The bit was good. But the reason I wrote it down was when he's eating the donut, right? And then the sponsor comes walking by and he's like, "Oh, hey, Larry, blah, 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 blah." I thought it was kind of strange he didn't shake his hand. And then it like dawned on me and I go, wow, the world really has changed a lot since COVID. Because, you know, for most of my life, I'm sure for a great portion of yours, even if it's somebody you see once a week or something, oh, hey, how's it, you know, if you're sitting down, maybe a little different. But like if you're just standing, you walk right, oh, hey, how's it going? You know, whatever, quick handshake.
Yep.
And I just don't think people do that as much anymore.
Right.
It's weird. It's very weird. I mean, we understand why the passing of the germs. Have you noticed that change in your life at all? While Justin's thinking, I will say, I have definitely noticed. Usually when you meet somebody, you'll shake their hand. Funerals, yes. Gatherings when you haven't seen someone in a long time, yes. But past that, like I saw one of my friends over the weekend, hadn't seen him in a while. Really good friend of mine. We've known each other for decades. But didn't shake hands with him. So by the way, just so everybody knows, Justin lost power. So we've lost Justin. We've lost Justin the Juice. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he won't. We'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to carry the show because that's what we do here on the RFN. So you just got me. So I'm going to carry this. We'll go through the rest of the show. Thought that was interesting. We meet Dan Levy at the Temple situation. And I was like, I know that guy. Oh, it's Dan Levy. This is great. This is great. Then we get to the bricks. Now, I got to say, I love the whole Larry David is disrespectful to women brick. That was just absolutely hysterical. And the fact that he believes it to be hate speech, and the rabbi says that him and the rabbi are talking, and that it's more like strong dislike speech, according to the rabbi. And that made me think like, wow, okay, they're really commenting on kind of, you know, the fact that the world we live in now, the term they use is microaggressions or micro whatever, that a lot of things can be deemed hate speech, even if it's maybe truthful. We've seen, if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, 12 seasons, I wouldn't say Larry David's disrespectful to women. I would say Larry David's disrespectful to anybody that drives him crazy, anybody that pushes his buttons, anybody he questions, anybody, you know, all on down the line. Disrespectful to many people over many seasons. Some of it is warranted, some of it is not, but it's all played to a point to where you're supposed to believe it anyways. So then we find out Freddie Funkhauser is not dating a Disney executive. She works at the Disney store, which I absolutely loved. I thought that was just totally hilarious. That was great. We get that whole bit. And then he starts to figure somebody's going to have to write another brick to kind of counteract the Larry David is disrespectful to women. So he goes to Cheryl first. Obviously, it's his ex-wife. And I just love how at this point she's just like, Larry, why are you here? And I find it funny. It's like, I love, like, Cheryl Hines is still in the show. I'm sure she wants to be involved, but like they were technically written to break up. And we're at a point now where it's 50-50. Half the show they were together and half the show they were apart. But I remember when they first split, I was like, this is crazy, you know? And then we thought the show was over after season 8 for a long time. So that kind of made sense. Ted Danson comes in. It's a 50-50 shot if you give somebody a compliment on the thing, if they'll give it to you or not. And he gets the pen from Ted Danson, and then Ted's just like, wants to run lines. You know, how much longer are you going to be here, Larry? When are you leaving, Larry? That was great. I will say I'm just assuming Jeff Garland was sick or had some sort of prior commitment to why he wasn't in this episode, because it wouldn't have made any sense otherwise for him to not be in it. But the best part is that because of that, we have Vince Vaughn, who was featured heavily in this episode, and then the 2 scenes with Richard Lewis, which were great. By the way, Justin the Juice, shout out to Justin the Juice. Yeah, I completely lost power with the thunderstorms. It is thunderstorming here as well. Very loud outside. I don't know if this microphone's picked it up or not. I'm going to quickly wrap the show up, and then we're going to get the heck out of here because I don't think Juice is coming back tonight. Such is life. Things like this happen. It's just the way of the world. So, there's script notes on the movie. I knew immediately when they met this was not going to pan out well. Something was going to happen and was eventually going to come full circle. So we get to the end of the show, the third act of the show, if you will. And that starts with Sean Hayes' character. Him and his husband have now gotten into a fight. He got kicked out of his own house, which I don't know how that works. Who owns the house? He's living in the office. He forgets to file the motion to dismiss, which leads me to my theory that this show is going to end with Larry David in jail, just like the Seinfeld series finale. I called this a few episodes ago, and I'm calling it again. He's leaving all of the breadcrumbs that this was a simple case, and it should have been handled promptly and swiftly. But because Larry fucks up a lot, he's fucking up all of his chances to make this easy in the strangest ways possible. So everything comes full circle when Larry and Freddie start thinking about the fish from the Chinese restaurant. Whether the fish is dead or alive doesn't matter. I think it's dead. I think the fish died. There may have been a scene because Larry seems to confirm it in the car. So I'm thinking he made some phone calls. That might have been in a scene that didn't make the episode. Because it's actually one of the longest episodes of Curb. This one was like 42 minutes when I turned it on. So it's definitely a longer episode. But I feel the fish is dead. And there was a scene that was cut that we didn't see when he finds out the fish is dead. And him and Freddie feel like the fish. They're stuck. They want to be free. So they do the Groats disease thing, which has been on Curb before. Great callback. And Irma packs up and leaves, and she's like, I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, free at last, you know, as she pulls away, and he's just so excited. And then Vince Vaughn, Freddie, he's loving it. He's excited because that's over with. And then the best scene of the whole show is that they're sitting out there. Or the girl standing outside the Disney store dressed up as Cinderella. And, you know, it comes out to be that Irma comes by. She's looking for some Mickey Mouse apparel. They figure out Larry and Freddie Funkhauser recognizes the name. Larry David recognizes the name. And then the sponsor and his daughter are coming down the street from the coffee shop. And she realizes that she's not a Disney executive and that she works at the Disney store. And they're like, fucking Larry. And then the show ends with all the bricks saying all these things about Larry David. I think we're just starting to ramp up. I think the next episode, because again, it would make sense that they're going to spend these last few episodes having, this is like by the way, this is spoilers for Goodfellas. Spoilers for Goodfellas. This is like the third act of Goodfellas. First two acts, whether it's right or wrong, the whole gangster lifestyle is a little romanticized. You relate to the characters. You root for the characters, even though they do bad things, etc., etc. And the third act of Goodfellas is like, pow, here comes reality. The gangsters got to pay the price for all the shit that they've done. He's in the witness protection program. Tommy gets whacked. Jimmy gets busted. Paul gets busted. All on down. Paul Sorvino. All get busted, right? I feel everything from the last 11 seasons of Curb is now coming towards Larry like a tidal wave that he doesn't see coming, and it's going to crash on him, and he's going to get burned for all the things that he's done, all of the terrible, questionable, immoral, disrespectful things that he's done throughout this show. Now, again, we look at the series as a whole, and I think one of the reasons why it's so popular is because a lot of people feel that the things that they're commenting on in the show, or a lot of other people would like to comment on them too, and they agree with the stance Larry takes most of the time. Again, you root for the character. So we'll see. That's just kind of my prediction. I don't know if it'll happen or not. I would love for the show just to end just like every other season of Curb, and then that's just kind of it. And then you just kind of think, okay, Larry's out there in this fictitious world, like living this life. That's how I would end it if I was writing the show. But if Larry David goes that route, I would understand why at the same time. So that being said, since I don't have Juice here, we can't go back and forth. I can't get his take on what's going down. So we're just going to end this show early. It's a little bit of a shorter episode. But anyways, you can find Justin the Juice over at What the Show. Search Justin the Juice. He's got his own channel as well, full of guitar videos. And you can find me at Rob Fishbeck and here on the RFN. All right, everybody, be well, stay safe, take it easy, and we'll see you later.
And I'll have a vanilla